Hi, welcome to the Christian. Oh,
That's me staring out the window.
that's me sleeping.
Oh.
He needs to eat something so I could say that's me.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, by now I would have been in the refrigerator. I would have called somebody.
All right, so welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey to publication. I'm Christina Catane, and I write in multiple genres, including Christian dystopian fiction.
I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Rhonda Hagerman, and I write fiction and nonfiction.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
So thanks for tuning in, everybody, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to us from. We want to welcome you to our podcast. And if you like what we do, hit subscribe and like and the bell and anything else you can hit. Just hit it all. Just go crazy with the hitting.
Send telegrams to your friends.
Yes.
Whatever.
Share us everywhere. Just, yeah. Okay, so we like to start each episode usually with me, so the host, saying, "Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast." I didn't realize we were watching the movie first.
Oh,
So
Okay.
we've had a lot of miscommunication. This
I
morning.
know.
All the way
Today's
around.
the
That's okay.
day. Yeah.
that's okay. That was fun. So let's start with our what's up. So let's start with Rhonda.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Come on, Rhonda. That's if we haven't abused you enough today.
Okay, let's see what's up with me. Today when I get home, it's going to be a little bit warm, and I've seen things sprouting in my garden. So
Ooh.
are you going out in your garden today, Jen?
No.
Because I am.
Because I did not clean my gardens out properly last fall.
Oh,
So
mhm.
mine are so ugly. And so I
Oh.
keep walking by them like this.
Yeah.
My weeds are really low maintenance.
Yeah.
I don't have to do
Ah.
anything. They just do their thing.
But let me
don't
live
believe in weeds.
vicariously through you, Rhonda. What exactly are you doing?
What
I'm
are you
super
doing
excited.
out there?
Well, picking up some old, dead material from last year that
Mhm.
we left in the garden for winter. It's just grasses and things like that. And because we have this one grass that when it becomes spring hurricane season, like it looks like today's going to be, it all breaks off and it spreads all over the yard and it looks terrible. So I'm probably going to look at that, just some church. I just honestly want to get out in the yard. I want to stick my fingers in the dirt for a second and that's it.
Okay, I've never read Moby Dick, but it's almost like gardeners have that kind of relationship with their garden, don't they? Like they're
Yes.
always pursuing some ideal. And
That is
every
very
year the
accurate.
battle begins anew, right?
Yep,
And so
that's
you
right.
got to get out there and get an early start.
Yep. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah. In all sincerity, I probably should get out there because as you're saying that, like there's something in me that's starting to stir, and it probably be very
bloom?
therapeutic.
Is it starting to blossom?
Oh.
It would probably be very therapeutic for me, and probably something I could really use. So, but I don't know if I want to do it
Yes.
here or go over to my aunt's house and do it.
Mm.
Oh,
It's even worse over there.
Oh.
She was not. She didn't have a green thumb at all.
Oh.
I can relate. I have a black thumb.
Yeah, Tina and I are going to be consumers. We're going to go buy from the farm stands at the farmer's market and let
Mhm.
everybody else grow the vegetables.
Because I have no choice because I kill them. So who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
So, if I could have shared the meme, I would. But late last night, my friend shared a meme with me through I'm part homeschool, part public school. My oldest daughter homeschools. The other two are still in public school. So in my little homeschool group messaging, she sent me a meme of Forrest Gump, and it said, "And just like that, homeschool was no longer optional." Something like that. And I'm like,
Became mandatory.
what?
Yep.
Became mandatory. I was like, what? And so, yes, all the schools in Michigan supposed to start on Monday, but they all started it today because who would send their kids if it's so bad that we have to start quarantining
I
the kids on
read that
Monday,
they were
why-
like, here's the thing. They were like, come and get your stuff and like say
Yep.
goodbye to your teacher was kind of, and I was like,
What?
yeah, that's how they were phrasing it. Like, we think students need this full day of school to come to this, like, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? To kind of help
to
with the
kinda come to grips
transition of
with
it.
it?
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought maybe it
Mhm.
was to help parents arrange
True.
childcare.
Yes, that
Maybe
also
that's
said
probably a
that.
big thing. So I do
Mhm.
feel really
Yeah.
bad for parents that I mean, because I'm home, so this
Yeah.
doesn't really upturn our life. It actually makes me really happy because I love having my kids around. But for others, I get it. My heart kind of aches for those parents because it is affecting everybody. And just while we were sprinting, and so my sprint is very short because my stepson is home right now from
Oh.
college for spring break, and everybody was over here having breakfast trying to be quiet while I was sprinting. And my son got a message from his college and they're closing down.
Of
And this is
course.
what he was worried because some colleges have closed for the rest of the year.
Well,
And kids,
he's home.
and he's a
He's
senior.
home.
This is his senior
I
year and he's
know. Oh my
Wow.
devastated.
goodness.
But they say till March 23rd, I think is what they said. So what we just said before I went live with you guys, as I said, this is hard for everybody. We've talked about this privately, all of us ladies, that our husbands' jobs are affected by this. We're affected by this. Like our kids now, they're schooling. But ultimately, I know God has a purpose in this.
Isn't it interesting that we picked this topic for today? Because I
Yes.
mean, we were kind of trying to not really throw it out there, but this was supposed to be part 2 of our staying healthy as a writer. Because Tina had pointed out that we addressed the physical stuff. And I'm sorry that I'm kind of pushing ahead, but I
No.
think that this is a really weird situation and we're going to maybe pivot a little bit to accommodate the fact that our world is a little bit crazy right now. And Tina, and I say crazy, and I hate using that word because mental health is very serious. And we were saying, well, if your book drives you crazy, because we really wanted to talk about staying mentally healthy as a writer, but from a perspective where we're not physicians, we don't want to advise people medically how to take care of a mental health issue. But we do know that mental health is important as a writer. And so it's ironic, or God, or whatever it is, that we chose to talk about this today, I feel.
Right. And I know we don't want to like spend a whole lot of time talking about this, but I really just wanted to like kind of do the positive spin because I know that a lot of people feel very alone right now and are scared, and we all feel that way too. We want you to know that, but at the same time it's like God has a purpose in this, not just for our world as a whole, for each one of us. And that's what I just said to my son. It's like he's got a purpose for this right now, why this is happening to you right now. And so just find comfort in that if you can. Reach out to a friend. If I go to my Instagram account and look at my stories, I shared something that somebody else had shared about things to do instead of fear, things to do instead of worrying. And it's a great little list of things that you can do right now to just keep yourself positive. So
Yeah, on the Menno Ministries social media, I put a little meme with a bunch of scriptures that you can turn to if you're afraid. That would be probably something. It's Menno Ministries Church of the Nazarene if you want to look it up. And
Jen, did you finish your
see the
what's up?
list.
Because we might as well have Tina's then,
Yeah.
since Tina's talking about her ministry, and I know she's got some news there. What's up, Tina?
Well, yesterday I went live with the first Bible study we just started a new church.
Yeah, you did a
it's
great
online.
job, Tina. You did a really good job with
Oh,
your Bible
thanks.
study.
I was so nervous and
Aw,
I felt like I was talking too fast, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I don't want to forget anything. And it was really strange being on there by myself and not having
Yeah.
like you guys there to like bounce off of. And,
yeah.
so there was a point, I think it was the point where I started talking about the tools you need, that I kind of forgot about the camera and I just went into Bible study teacher mode.
I totally missed this. Was this on YouTube, Facebook Live, or both?
Both.
Both. Okay, so we can go. Anyone watching this can go back and watch this.
Yeah, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll find it because we shared it. And we can go to the church website, which is venoministries.com, and you can find it there.
And spoiler alert, you didn't miss anything if you missed the first one, because Tina was just basically giving us our like instructions for how to do Bible study her way. So if you wanted to watch it, you wouldn't be coming in and feeling like you're behind. You would be
Right.
starting right at the beginning, right with Tina. And Tina does like a soaking thing when she does Bible study. If you're really into learning about what was going on in that time or whatever, that's the kind of stuff Tina really digs. So I'm
Yeah,
curious
I
to
think
see
you
how
could
it
come
goes.
in halfway through and probably not be behind because it's like that's the way it's designed, is like you could catch up really fast because we are not going fast at all. So
Yeah, and I don't like Bible studies, but when Tina led our devotions at our retreats, I was very surprised and refreshed by it. And so I can just say, if you're looking for someone to study the Bible with, she's great. She's totally approachable. She'll answer your questions. She's not scary and intimidating like, I don't know, sometimes you get with people who are doing a Bible
ask
study.
my kids, even when I try,
And it's great
they
that
laugh
you're
at
doing,
me.
it's great that you're doing it as live too, because people can ask questions live. They can comment
Yeah.
right then, as opposed to recording it and then putting it up, which is one of the reasons. If people go back and watch our podcast, originally we recorded and we did live. Remember how scared we were to do the first lives during
Yeah.
Nano, our first Nano as a podcast.
I
And
almost
then
forget there are
afterwards-
people paying attention now. It's weird.
Yeah, I know. And so after we did that, then I think it was me that was like, we should do them all live. And they're like, and then it just kind of happened. And it's so much better because we can communicate with people that are like have questions or that you guys can share with us. We just love it. So that, I think that's awesome that you're doing your Bible study that way.
Gigi apparently watched, because now she's calling me out about the homework. Like, I feel personally attacked, even though she didn't even say my name. She's like, just be sure to read the intro to John, because Tina gave us homework to read
Thanks
that.
for watching, Gigi.
Yeah, so she obviously is keeping up with the homework there. Oh
Yeah,
no,
do your
I guess-
homework.
oh yeah, and we're supposed to read John like 100 times between now and next
No,
week.
I didn't
and stuff.
say that. I said as quickly as you can.
You're a taskmaster, Tina.
The
You're gonna
more
kill
that
me.
you read it, the more you're going to absorb and get the feel for the Book of John.
Well,
maybe
I'm gonna
everybody-
audiobook it.
But I
Yeah.
feel like we're going off
Sarcasm.
on the wrong topic. We need to talk about the Christian Indie Writers podcast.
Well, if she's gonna let just anyone join her Bible study, she needs to get used to some harassment. So I'm gonna be like throwing the tomatoes at her and
I just
stuff.
gotta do my imitation of Jamie just then. You're such a taskmaster. Like you're just. I hope people understand that. Like you're totally kidding. Because 1 minute you're like, "Oh, she's such a great Bible study teacher." Blah blah. Blah. What a taskmaster.
Yeah, I am like,
I am a homeschool mom, so I am not afraid to assign homework. That's all I have to say.
yeah, and then I can play rebellious teenager. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna like refuse to do my homework unless she like withholds
I
the
could
Wi-Fi
pause your
password
internet.
from me.
I wish I had the thing on my phone. I could pause your internet
Oh,
if you don't do your
snap.
homework. I have that for
Uh-oh.
our house. I can pause anybody's internet that I want to in the house.
That's
So
awesome.
Wow,
that's like
that's
you're
awesome.
grounded.
So
Hey,
Shell
Shell,
is chiming in. Yeah,
Yeah.
who's Shell? Is that someone's buddy?
Shell is new.
Shell has followed us on social media and has
Yay.
commented and stuff. So I think this might be your first time in chat, Shell. I'm not sure, but we appreciate you being here. Appreciate you fitting us in as long as you can, and you can always watch this later. But we
Yeah, and
appreciate
shout
you.
out to Robin. I see Robin.
Yep.
I feel like that girl in Romper Room. Remember, she would have that thing and she'd go, I see Jamie. I always waited for my name. And she never would say my name. I'm like, come on, you said a name that I never heard before. Can't you say Jamie? Does anyone know what I'm even talking about?
Yeah,
I totally
No,
know.
I do.
Romper Room?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
So
grew up in
Tina,
Alaska. We didn't have very much TV up there. So.
did you have like
There's
the Aldi brand of Romper Room? Was it called like Dumping Space?
No, I think we had like 3 channels, and my mother pretty much had control of them. So
So for people
Oh.
watching, Rhonda, Jamie, and I are all like months apart in age. Like we are very close in age, and we all 3 grew up very close, like all within southeastern Michigan area. So like even TV shows that are just southeastern Michigan, we get like we we have similar jokes, and that one I think was larger than that. So like we're sorry for all these inside jokes, but we enjoyed them. That's all
Just
that
don't
matters.
bring up the Bozo show because Tina will tell you her Bozo show story.
Uh-oh.
Right?
All right.
Were we gonna have to save that for another day, Tina? Don't you have a
I don't-
Bozo show story?
no,
Oh,
I
wrong-
don't even know
wrong
what you're
friend.
talking about.
That makes it even better. It's our next word sprint.
Oh,
Or I
hi,
could just-
Gigi.
Oh, hi, Gigi. Oh, yeah, Gigi was in here earlier. Yes. Okay, so did I say my what's up? My what's up can be look up Romper Room if you never saw it. And also, I will say, happy and sad that my husband has no work. Boo hoo. But my husband is coming home. Yay. So if we're
Yay.
all on lockdown, at least we'll be together. So happy me And that's fine.
Bummer.
What's up?
Lockdown in
Mhm.
your with your hubby.
I know. I'm so upset. I think the kids will play
Are we
outside a
gonna
lot.
have any little surprise packages in 9 months?
Hope not. Oh my gosh, that would be so bizarre. But I mean, I guess we could name it Corona if we had a
Stop.
baby.
Oh
And
my
then
gosh.
sing to it, my Corona, and stuff like that when we're changing its diaper and everything.
I probably shouldn't share this, but my husband had poison ivy really bad.
Oh,
Really
my
bad
goodness.
one time. And that was the same month that I ended up getting pregnant for Chloe. No idea how, because I kept away from him. I'm not sure. I just really think it was immaculate conception. And I wanted so bad to name her Ivy. But he figured it would scar her for life to know that. So.
Yeah, to even talk about, how did your parents come up with that name?
Yeah, well, let me just tell you. All right. Shell says, yes, first time live, bringing old episodes up to number 10 now. This is what I remember about Shell was on our, she commented on one of our
I
posts,
remember now.
and I was like mortified. Oh, please don't go watch it. Please don't watch the old ones.
Oh, those
Yes.
old ones.
Not,
Oh my gosh.
I had to like
not that
number
we're super
25.
professional now, but yeah. Yeah, we're not
We're
that
more
professional
relaxed.
now, but we certainly weren't. Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Yeah, like remember how long Tina took to do her makeup in the beginning? I think she even had someone come over.
That's behind the scenes.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know that involved.
I did not have someone come over.
You're
Okay,
over.
moving on. I'm the host, so can I mute people?
Yeah.
Do I have the power?
I have the power. Wait, why have I not done this before? There you go. Bye, Jamie. Just kidding. You're back.
Okay. So like we mentioned earlier, this week's topic is Poco Loco. And for those of you who don't know, that's Spanish for a little bit crazy. So staying sane when your book is making you crazy. So we watched our fun little video at the beginning with, what is his name?
Billy Crystal.
Right.
I don't remember the
Crystal.
character's name.
I don't know the
Trying
character's
to-
name.
Girl Mama from the Train. Billy Crystal character's name. I'm trying to communicate. with
I
my husband.
barely remember that movie.
Owen.
So,
No, Owen. Yeah, no, Owen was the other guy.
that was the brother.
Owen.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I don't even know if this movie's appropriate. That's like from.
It's
from
not.
my
Well,
time.
I mean, someone's
probably
going to
isn't.
say it's not. No matter how appropriate it is or isn't, someone's going to say it's not. So let's not endorse it, maybe.
Okay.
But we did like that scene because that just like writers find themselves in that position all the time, right? Like you're stuck, whether it's you can't figure out how the night was, or it's because you can't figure out what your people are supposed to be doing in the scene, or the writing just stinks and you can't figure out why. You just want to take your whole machine and chuck it into the, road or whatever. You're just frustrated. So that's why we wanted to have this talk today.
Right. So let's share some of our personal things that have driven us crazy. That is great English, isn't that right there? Driven
Yeah,
us.
it was wonderful.
Man,
It was beauteous.
yeah. Who
Well,
wants to
Shakespeare
share
can make
something-
up words, you can. So
That's right. Who wants to share something personal that has driven them crazy while they were writing?
I think I brought up this writing is terrible. What am I going to do about it? From a deep personal scar. Like, here's the thing. I write drafts and then I'm like, I don't want to edit that. So I leave it alone for like decades. And then I go back and I'm a different writer because I write every day. So I'm like, wow, this writing is bad. And then the work to fix it is so hard. But then you're like confused. Is it still bad? Am I really a better writer today than I was? Like, and I just get all in my head about, is this writing any good? Does anybody care about this story? I don't care about it because I've already read it 500 times trying to edit it. And I just get like, blah, you know what I mean? And ready to just quit. Oops.
Yeah.
For me, my experience is very similar because the first book I wrote, like seriously sat down, like this is my career, I'm going to write. Is book 3, which I'm still editing. And everybody, when I was starting out, every conference I went to said, oh, your first book will be garbage. You end up throwing it out. And I'm like, I'm spending so much time on this. I am not throwing this out. It's great. Well, then I wrote books 1 and 2, and now I come to book 3 and I'm like, oh, it's garbage. But what am I going to do? I don't have a choice. I've written a series around this book. I even have book 4 done. So it's like, I have to do this. So that's what's driving me crazy is the expectation I put on myself. And that now that is worldwide because my books have been, published and sold and people are waiting. So that drives me crazy. And I think that makes it worse for me because I'm just so like in my head about like, oh, this has to be as good as the other two, when it's just I was a different writer. And so a lot of it is getting rewritten, which is good. That's good stuff.
What about you, Rhonda? What makes you crazy when you're writing?
Well, it's not really so much when I'm writing, because there's a number of things. I can't think of the right word. The words just aren't coming out, just a lot of things. But really, my main problem is things outside of my writing world that drive me
Mm.
absolutely insane. And writing is sort of my escape.
Ooh.
But the problem is I don't make enough time to do extra writing for stress relief.
Wow.
Because the problem I have is that I feel like everything's got to be perfect before I can sit down and start writing. I've got to have the dishes done. I've got to have just the chores done, and I've got to have the quiet space, and I've got to have food, and so I just that's
because
my
it feels like an indulgence to you, right? And then you feel a
Yeah.
little bit guilty for indulging in the wonderful world that is your own imagination.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't have to have the chores done before I write, or I'd never write. Never.
Right.
I just want, okay, so like, I don't know when it's appropriate to throw this in here, but I think maybe now, since I'm thinking of it, why not? Why not just say every thought that comes into your head, Jamie? Why not? But I feel like this is going to sound really strange, but okay, I never kind of understood when the Jewish people, okay, go with me here. When they were put into the ghettos before they were sent away to Auschwitz, they were really were focused on making sure their art survived. They had art materials for the children. They taught music lessons. They painted, they drew, they wrote. And they insisted that they not let the art stop because that was their humanity. So, Rhonda, I just want to like encourage you that when you engage in art, you are celebrating God's creation because you are exploring his creation, which is you. And I think that there's value in it. And so I just want to encourage you to like indulge in that because you're being very worshipful, and it's a very Mary sort of a way to be if you want to look at it in a Martha and Mary kind of scenario. Like, why not sit at the feet of Jesus and just hedonistically drink up all you can? Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Go for it.
Not only that, we were made in the image
Yep.
of God, and creating is an attribute of God. And so when you think about it, that creator that he put into us is a reflection of who he is.
And it isn't anything I don't think Rhonda would know. I'm more saying it for the benefit of listeners who may not know, because I think that Rhonda already knows this, right? Like, it's kind of like, self-care is important, but do you actually go and take a bubble bath? And then you don't.
Right.
And then people say, well, self-care is important. You're like, I know self-care is important. But still, you just like, every once in a while, you just want your girlfriends to say, you deserve, you can, you should, you ought to. So that's what I'm trying to do for everybody.
I struggle with that too. And before I was homeschooling my daughter, when it would get bad, I would just leave the house. Like, and I would know that it was still there, but there's something psychological about getting out of my house and going anywhere else so that it's not staring at me. Because my thing is, I think I can cram way more into 5 minutes than I can, way more into an hour than I can. So I think, I'm just gonna do the dishes really quick and then I'll have time to write. And before I know it, it's time for my girls to get home from school. And I've got so for me, it's so much better sometimes to leave the house and get out of there.
Rhonda, you're having headphone issues.
Oh, there we go. It stopped.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
So for me, this whole idea about being a better writer is what drives me crazy. Sometimes I feel like I need to stop watching the little things that I watch to improve my craft, because I'm going to get to the end of my book and have to go rewrite it another time because I feel like, okay, so I wrote this thing 10 years ago, and then I started working on it. And then after a year or something working on it, I was a completely different writer, and I had to go rewrite the whole thing from scratch. And then, so I took 2 years to rewrite it. And now I'm in the editing, and I feel that way again when I'm going back to the beginning parts that I wrote 2 years ago, that I'm a different writer than I was then, and I've grown. And so it's like I can't seem to catch up with the cycle. And that drives me crazy.
Yeah. You know what else drives me crazy is that it's so much easier for me to do marketing than, I mean, the writing comes easy. It's the editing. Would you guys all agree that really the writing, we like the writing, right?
Mhm.
It's
For me, it's telling everybody else what to do that comes easy. It's doing it myself that is difficult. I'm really good at solving your problem while you can't figure it out, but solving my own problem seems to be, I don't know, a roadblock. It's something like a moat and a beam. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's a common thing, though. It's so
Yeah,
much
it's kinda
easier to
like-
solve other people's problems than to
Right.
solve
It's
our
kind of
own.
like maybe we should edit each other's book and just give each other co-writing credit. So I'll go in and fix all of your bad stuff, Jennifer. You come in and fix all of my bad stuff, Jennifer. Then we don't have to do it. And we could just say co-written by Jennifer Tong. And then it would be like, oh yeah, I don't have to do that part that really stinks on ice.
I kind of feel like that's what we already do. Like I sent you my all right, it's done. No, I'm just kidding.
But the problem with that is sometimes, like, Jamie will have a great idea how to fix things, but when she gives her version of how she would write it, it's not my words. Like, it's not how I would say it. And so I had to take her advice, erase the way she would say it, and say it how I would say it.
Well, there's only so many ways to say spacecraft, Tina, so you'll have to forgive me. I tried to mix
There
it
are
up
no
as much as I
spacecrafts
could.
in my book, so I don't know where that
There are now because I got a hold of it. No, just kidding.
No, this is a whole nother topic, right? Like how to work with your editor would be a great episode. But I would just say that, yes, I agree with you. But there were some things that Jamie wrote that I'm like, that's exactly how I would say it. And I would just take it because we have a relationship. I think the longer you like with an editor, which Jamie's not just my editor, but the longer you work with somebody, the more that they understand your voice and hear your voice and the feedback they can give it in your voice. But yeah, that's a personal choice too. But that doesn't drive me crazy. So that's kind of off topic. So sorry.
Well, before we run out of time, I would like to transition us over to the more serious topic of real mental health issues that probably have nothing to do with writing your book, but it may affect your writing your book. And so, because I'm not a mental health professional, I went to the professionals. So, on the Mayo Clinic website, which the Mayo Clinic is an actual hospital in Minnesota. It's similar to our U of M University Hospital here. I like to go to reputable sources for my information. So I just want you to know I didn't just Google this. I specifically went to Mayo Clinic and then searched depression symptoms in Mayo Clinic's website. So I'm going to read you a list of symptoms. And this is something that is this is something that has changed in your life for at least 2 weeks and is going on every day, almost all day. So, like, some of you might not have insomnia, but you've had insomnia for years. That wouldn't necessarily be a sign of depression. Does that make sense?
Right. So we're looking for a change in behavior is what we're looking for. A change
in behavior that has lasted at least 2 weeks and is disrupting your life. So, feelings of sadness, tearfulness, emptiness, or hopelessness is the first one. Angry outbursts, irritability, or frustration, even over little small things. You know, someone put the toilet paper roll on wrong. If you have toilet paper. Loss of interest in or pleasure in things that you normally love to do. Sex, hobbies, or sports, whatever it is, gardening. If you normally love to do that and then you've just lost all interest. So sleep disturbances. And again, this is a change from normal, which would be sleeping too much or not sleeping at all or having very little sleep, not being able to sleep. Tiredness and lack of energy so that even small tasks take extra effort.
And this is where you have to be careful because a lot of times you think, well, I'm a mom. Of course I'm tired.
Right.
So you have to make sure that you're paying attention.
Right. So this would be a change. Like, you know how you're tired because you have kids, but this is a change from that. And I've actually had a diagnosis of major depression. And this particular symptom to me feels like you're trying to move through wet cement. And everything you do, you have to, moving your fingers is an effort, like that kind of tiredness. The next one, reduced appetite with weight loss or increased cravings for food with weight gain. And again, a change from the normal. Anxiety, agitation, or restlessness. Slowed speaking, thinking, or body movement. So you just like the sloth on that one show. What is it, Madagascar or something? Where they just move really slow. What movie am I thinking of? It's
Let's do something.
Yeah. Feelings of worthlessness or guilt, fixating on past failures or blaming yourself over things that have happened in the past. I heard a psychotherapist say one time that anxiety is caused by focusing too much on the future. Depression is caused by focusing too much on the past. And so they give you these breathing exercises so that you can be in the moment where you're not too much in the future or the past. So trouble thinking, concentrating, making decisions, and remembering things. Frequent or recurrent thoughts of death, suicidal thoughts, suicidal attempts, or suicide. And I was going to give you the phone number for the suicide prevention hotline, but in my research this week, listening to therapists online, they are not giving that to people. They are saying if you have suicidal ideations, if you feel like killing yourself, if you've made a plan, call 911 immediately.
Just reach out, please.
Just call 911, call your mom, call your husband, call your best friend. Don't, because most suicides happen within 10 minutes of the idea becoming, like, you get this urge, you get this compulsion to do it, and then most people do it within 10 minutes. So the minute you feel that way, please reach out. Unexplained physical symptoms such as back pain, headaches, stomach aches, things like that you've gone to the doctor for and there's no explanation for.
Sage is sharing, and I just wanted to point out she has a diagnosis that she got years ago, and she's been doing well, but she found herself getting out to confront people twice in 1 week, not me. Wow, Sage, I'm so happy that you found help. And we're here for you, and thanks for being vulnerable so we know how to pray for you. If you care to share what your diagnosis is, that's also we're open to hearing that. Thanks for being vulnerable. Yeah, it's important that you pay attention. Tina, thanks for actually going and researching all of that, because we are not experts, but we do know that writers struggle. It's a solitary job that you have, communicating your thoughts to the world, and it's also painful if you're creating art. I would love to do a podcast, art versus entertainment, and what is the purpose of your novel. If you really feel like you're creating art, you are basically putting your innards on display for the world, and that can really take you through a process, maybe, or a journey of your own. What's going on inside of you, right? Because that's how you do art. So when you go and dig and uncover things, it can be a little tricky, and try to make sure that you're reaching out to people and communicating what's going on with you.
Right. And I just want to say that if you think somebody that you love might be having symptoms of being suicidal, you can go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org, and they have a list of things to be aware of warning signs that you can look for.
And my heart is just so full right now, Tina, because you are giving this information. Because if you are struggling with mental health, the takeaway is we care about you, and we want you to stick around, and we want you to be around.
Exactly.
And we want to work with you. People who care about you want you to be well and healthy. So that's why China's jumping right to suicide prevention, because a mental health condition can be stigmatized, and we want you to know, not by everybody, because we're here to love you through it,
Exactly.
So stick around.
And I would like to say too, that even if you're not feeling suicidal, if you're not feeling as if that is what you're going through, but some of these things that Tina mentioned kind of ring true for you, not everybody who's depressed feels suicidal. And that doesn't mean that you don't deserve to get the care that you need. And that doesn't mean
Exactly.
you don't deserve to take care of this, because we love you. And I was going to say that earlier on in this episode, is we really love our listeners and our chatters, and we appreciate all that you guys do for us. We love each other. The four of us, we are in contact all week long. And when I was going through the mourning period with my aunt, with her death, like these ladies were here, like every single time I needed them, and even times that I didn't think I needed them, so get a group, be with people, even when you don't feel like it. Try to
especially when you don't feel like it, right, ladies?
Yeah.
My son is in counseling right now for depression, and his therapist said isolation is your number one worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that's true for anybody that's feeling depressed or down.
Well, Sage has to run. She said that she's been working on some issues there in the chat if anybody cares to scroll up. But we care about you, Sage, and thank you for being vulnerable. We'll pray for you.
Yes.
And good luck
we'll
on
be
your
praying
book
for
launch
you.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Sorry, Rhonda.
That's all right.
All right.
Rhonda finally says something.
And I talk.
Okay, so if nobody else has anything burning that they need to say, I think it's time to move on to the feeding of the backs. What do you guys think?
Hooray.
So we call it the feeding of the backs because we give feedback. This is a 15-minute sprint. There's no editing. There's no pre-planning. There's just 15 minutes and your keyboard. And so we only give positive feedback about the pieces that we write. And today's prompt, who wants to go first? We'll have them give today's prompt.
I'll go first. I don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, the prompt was in honor of poor Billy Crystal and Throw Mama from the Train. We took on The Night Was, which is what he was typing, if you notice, in the very beginning scene. So how would we finish Billy Crystal's sentence that was driving him un poco loco? So here we go. The night was perfect for snuggling together on the couch and watching a movie. The kids squealed with delight when Mom swung the van door open to reveal bulging grocery sacks. They scrambled to help carry them in, knowing that doing so would give them the first peek inside. Dad led the charge, and before long, many hands had made light work of putting everything where it belonged. Mama, meanwhile, had started the popcorn and the chicken wings. The aroma of promised delights fueled everyone to continue preparations. Someone went in search of an HDMI cable, while others fished in the cracks of the sofa to find the missing television remote. Finally, the snacks were done, and the spots on the sofa were claimed. Everyone sat down with a plate of food, except for Mama, whose heart had quadrupled in size, leaving very little room for tasty snacks. The children quirked a quizzical brow when Mama insisted she doesn't care who gets her last portion of the remaining chicken wings, but every mama everywhere completely understands. That's it.
Is that the end?
Oh,
Oh, that's a sweet story.
is that autobiographical?
It's a little bit, except we don't have a van. It's creative fiction, right? Or creative nonfiction, right, Rhonda? Is that what
Oh, yeah. Another one for the file.
Yeah, that's
I'm proud of you.
Because I'm very excited about my hubby going to be home. I mean, you know what? Like, we might go broke and lose the house, but who cares? We're going to have 3 weeks to party together. So we're just going to go down with the ship. Whoop, whoop. We're not going to stop playing our little orchestra or whatever, you know?
He could always get a job delivering toilet paper.
Right?
There is none to
starting
deliver,
up
right?
a factory making it. If I had $1 million, that's what I'd do right now. I'd open an antibiotic factory or a rubber glove factory or a mask factory or something.
Is this too much information to share online that I have a bidet, so I have no need for toilet paper?
I think Jennifer
it's too late
approves.
now. Okay, I'm going to go next so that we don't have me talking all of it at the end.
Okay.
Since I'm the
You mentioned a bidet in your
Yeah.
story.
By
No.
the way, right? Like she's like, oh, since you mentioned bidets. Anyway.
mine is not autobiographical at all. So here we go. The night was eerily quiet. No wind rustled through the papery leaves hanging onto their branches with the last of their strength. No owls hooted from high in the trees. There were no scurrying sounds of little paws in the undergrowth. Even the crickets had ceased playing their symphonies. Robin held her breath. almost as if the sound of her breath would alert something out there of her whereabouts. Afraid to take a step, afraid to move at all, she stood frozen on the dark path that led to the lake, listening to the silence, trying to sense what it was that was out there that had sent even the moon into hiding behind the clouds.
Ooh.
Then the moment passed, and the wind picked up, causing the dry tree branches to shake off their leaves the way Robin shook the snow off her mittens in the winter. The leaves danced and did pirouettes on their way to the forest floor. An owl hooted from somewhere in the distance. Scurrying sounds came from somewhere in the underbrush to Robin's right. The moon came out from its hiding place, lighting the path and sending its light to shimmer on the surface of the lake. Robin quickly made her way to the water's edge and knelt to fill her bucket. Little Annie had a fever, and the fresh water would soothe her throat and cool her forehead. She peered at the dark shadows beneath the tree line across the lake, and a sense of foreboding filled her. Something was out there watching her. Something dark and powerful. Something that wanted to devour her. Her bucket full, she ran back up the path toward home, the bucket hitting her leg and sloshing water into her shoe. She had broken into the yard from the trees when she heard it. The screeching roar of a big cat, almost like the cry of a woman. It sent shivers up Robin's spine. She ran faster, keeping her eyes fixed on the door, behind which was warmth and safety. The thuds of something heavy running through the trees behind her sent Robin's stomach into her throat. She tried to scream, but all that came out was a little squeal, and then she tripped, her bucket rolling away onto the grass. 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Wow.
The
So
moon
much
also
good,
decided
Tina.
to hide. Yo,
Mhm.
so good.
Thanks.
Wow.
The pirouetting leaves and the hiding moon. And you wrote like 10,000 words that were good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm impressed if I can squeak out 100 that are coherent and like, wow.
Whatever.
Wow.
You
Tina,
always
I've got to
say
tell
good
you that your writing since the first day I met you. Okay, all I'm going to say is that you must not have to spend much time editing at all anymore because your sprints are just so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I could only, do that for 80,000 words.
Uh-huh.
Like it's
Yeah.
easy to do it for 15 minutes. But.
Sprints and marathons are different things, aren't they?
Okay, so Rhonda, I think you said that your computer is running out of battery and
Yeah,
you forgot
so
you
bye,
started record.
Rhonda, in case you get shut down on us, but let's try and hear your story maybe.
Yeah,
She
so why
didn't
don't you
have
go
a chance
next?
to write hers because we forgot about her.
Oh,
You remember the crazy making morning that we've all had?
Just
I
so that,
forgot. I'm like, oh, we need to make sure we have time for Rhonda's story. And meanwhile, we
Right.
blew getting her the prompt. I mean, we really blew it with her today. We feel so bad. Poor Rhonda. Anyway, if she
Good.
disappears on us, it's because her computer shut down. So bye, Rhonda, just in case.
Rhonda,
Okay.
when is your birthday?
Yeah,
What month?
August.
August. And
August.
Jamie, when's your birthday?
October.
And mine's May. So really, you are the middle child. We're treating you like the middle child.
Not again.
would I be the firstborn? Because I'm a lot older than you guys.
Yes, we'll let you be the
Yeah.
first one.
Mhm.
So I get to boss you all around. Is that
Well,
what that
Jennifer's the mom. That makes me the baby. I've never gotten to be the baby. Oh boy. Anyway, sorry. We'll take this off camera. Anyway, so
Everyone's like,
Jennifer wrote
Jennifer's
for
the
us, right?
mom.
Yeah, just
That's
because
like off
Jennifer
camera
does all of the
conversation.
work. Jennifer gets no chicken wings. Anyway, what do you have for
True.
us? Did you write a story for us, Jennifer?
I did. It is incredibly short because, as I said at the beginning of the episode, I was distracted by what was going on, in the background. But this is what I wrote. The night was hot and humid, just like July nights, but like most July nights in Michigan. It was nights like this that Leanne missed New Mexico the most. It was hotter there, sure, but not hot like this. Not hot, like close your throat off, suffocate your whole body hot. Leanne longed to rip her tank top off, the fabric of the shirt clinging wetly to her like an unwanted second layer of skin that only worsened the feeling of drowning. But even in the solitude of the dark of her back patio, where no one would see her standing in her shorts and sports bra, she couldn't bring herself to do it. What was she thinking, renting an apartment in a building that wasn't finished and that did not have air conditioning yet? Just then, she remembered the swimsuit Marnie had given her. She swore she would never be caught out in public in it, but no one would see her here. Then the thought of her swimsuit brought another idea. She could take a shower first, a cold shower, in the suit, then sleep out here in the lounge chair. She didn't need to worry about mosquitoes on a night like this. Even those pesky annoyances were too hot to bother anyone. If only there were a breeze. Leanne froze in place, her hand still on the handle of the sliding glass door. The male voice was near, but she wasn't certain where.
I
She
knew it.
slowly turned. I can't write with that, right?
I thought he was going to show up when she was in the bathing suit. Sorry.
No,
Go
no.
ahead. Go ahead.
A couple more sentences. Who's there? She squeaked, then cleared her throat, angry at herself for letting her fear be evident. I'm sorry, came the voice. I thought you saw me. The paltry light of the waning moon gave little illumination, but enough for her to make out the shadow of the man who was now stepping around the divider that separated her. 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
I know I had so much to say, but at that moment, my son was over here, and I really felt like I needed to talk to him about
Yeah.
what we, and
of
so
course.
where I
Yeah.
was heading though was that like she's not the only person in this apartment building like she thought. Of course, they're right next to each other. Of course. And of course, he's super handsome, I'm sure. Of course. And
Maybe
I-
he's not super handsome and he has just major redeeming qualities.
well, he's gonna for sure be a man after God's own heart because
Maybe he's ugly but has air conditioning.
Hey, I said redeeming qualities.
So this isn't your baseball story?
Oh no, your ear. You did the mute thing. You pushed the mute. Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. It could be any one of those actually. All these sprints that I do, it seems like that any of them could fit into that contemporary. So yeah, we'll see.
That's
I
great.
don't know.
You're honing your scene writing. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
it's going to translate well. I love the paltry moonlight. Very good.
Thank you. I hope I used the word right. It's a
I
sprint.
thought so. Yeah.
think I
You know
did.
what you mean, right?
You guys worry about that?
Nobody noticed if you didn't.
But since we're sharing these out loud, like fresh with people that we really don't know, we love our chatters, but we really don't know them. Like, do you guys ever find yourself when you're writing going, gosh, I hope that's the right word?
I know. I just feel like this is unedited, covers a multitude of sins, and I
Yeah.
just go with it,
I hope.
Usually when I'm reading it back, when I'm going, oh, I just said that was like 4 times in the same sentence.
Yeah.
And I discovered that as I was reading it, I corrected something.
Me
But
too.
I was already on to the next sentence before I realized I corrected it. So sorry. Like, I guess I self-edit. Oh, there goes.
Oh, there goes Rhonda. How sad. Bye,
She doesn't have to tell us what's next.
I know.
I think she planned this.
Yeah.
She really hates that section. I just have to say to Robin, I did not have you in mind. Don't take that personally when I use that name.
When you said Robin, I was like, oh.
I didn't even consider the fact that we had a listener named Robin.
Yeah,
I probably
Robin
would have
was
used
like,
a different
I do
name.
not do cold weather and
Yeah.
Oh, there's Ron. Now our Rhonda is in the conversation. But I
With
was
her
just-
evil laugh.
Yeah. So she says she wasn't thinking about you, Robin, but next week when the character's name is Gigi, we'll see how she defends that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I got to say, Gigi is a good little cheerleader, isn't she? She's
Yes,
always
thank you,
in there
Gigi.
saying, I know.
Yeah,
she's
she
like,
is.
For the compliment.
like,
Thank you,
so
Gigi.
supportive. We really appreciate that.
If you're listening to this, you need to come on over to YouTube and watch our chat, like read through the chats, because our listeners are just very supportive and just great, great people. We love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
It's
do.
almost like we could spend a whole episode just reading our chat, but that would
Wow.
kind of not work. But anyway, they're great. They're really great.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
so let's move on to what's next. Did everybody read theirs? It's because Rhonda didn't read.
Yeah,
I feel like
feels
that it's not, we're not
unfinished.
complete
But
without her.
she said she is.
Yeah.
She's
Go
still
ahead.
going to do the sprint, so we will tweet that out later when she shares that with us. She may not know that we're going to tweet that out later, but
Mwahaha,
I know
Rhonda.
the person in charge of social media for the Christian Indie Writers podcast. So
There you go.
Aw.
Well, I'm
Rhonda.
going to take executive privilege and go first.
Yeah.
Because my what's next is really short and sweet and to the point. I
Yeah.
need to get my butt in gear and get the editing done. The editing fix is done.
So what?
Yeah.
So where are you right now in your editing process?
Not very far
Oh,
because
okay.
I've been sick and I've been really anemic. And so whenever I sit down to write,
Into our topic today?
I think maybe not.
Okay.
If people want to talk about that privately, we can do that.
Awesome. I think that it's Tina, yeah. I mean, I get where you're at because it's just a matter of like doing the work. Like I was saying about the book that I wrote that is just terrible. It is fixable because all I need to do is be my own editor, do for myself what I would do if Jen sent me a book or if Riley sent me a book, my daughter or whoever. But I just like don't want to do it. You know what it is because I feel like helping somebody else, it has value. It's like the whole thing Rhonda struggles with, right? But helping myself doesn't feel like it has the same value, maybe.
You
And I
don't feel
need
like
to
you have value.
yeah, right. We've been talking about that. So I guess I'll talk about how my own mental health issues have affected my writing. And it's because, and I just was sharing that with the girls because I really have self-worth issues that really creep into every realm of my life, not just the writing. And so it's interesting because my writing, a lot of it, I've really started, I guess you would call it prayer journaling or something. So like I'm addressing God directly as I write. And I've been doing a lot of work and realizing these things has been really helpful. It's been opening my eyes up to things that I feel have been blocking me. And it's just been really great. So I just appreciate that the work that the Lord is doing. And
at the same time, that's painful because you have to rip off some scabs.
Yeah, it's
for
funny.
that to heal.
It's ironic or God or coincidence, whatever. I always like to say it's God because of my faith. So anyway, but we are studying the metamorphosis of a butterfly in our American Heritage Girls Troop. And we're talking about how there's always a process. And I told my husband, it's like, I feel like I'm breaking out of a chrysalis. And I don't know if it's going to be just a bigger, fatter worm that comes squirting out of there, or if it's going to be some kind of a butterfly. You know, everybody wants to be the monarch butterfly, right? But no, I might still just be a bigger, fatter worm. And that's okay because I still feel like I'm kind of leveling up, or I don't know, I'm reaching a new place in my faith and in my self-worth and my identity in Christ. And it's just been really refreshing. I just hope people still like the new fat caterpillar because the old fat caterpillar was always trying to please everybody.
Well, some of us become moth. So, you know.
Yeah. I might be a moth because I'm pretty dumb. I'll fly right into a candle that would burn me up. Yep.
You are not the least bit dumb. Stop it. But I do love that you're sharing this because I think that like a lot of people when they watch this might be in that part where it's the painful part and can't see the chrysalis yet. Can't see that the fact that like they're forming a chrysalis around themselves and they're going to emerge from this. And that's good for us to share those things.
For sure. And dig this. A lot of people don't even get the blessing of understanding. They don't get the blessing of understanding how their suffering is fitting into the big picture, right? I think about all those women who like wandered the desert and were possibly like married off to some guy they didn't give a fig about, and they lived these dirty, dusty, desperate lives, only to be a footnote in a chapter of the lineage of the birth of the Messiah, right?
Oh,
like
only, yeah.
Right. And they don't know. They don't know. They live these lives of probably horrible, thirsty desert, abusive husband, whatever, and they have no idea that they were part of this big plan. So I think it's really a blessing when you are able to see how your suffering fits into the plan, or you can imagine that you can see it. It's really a gift if you can get to that place. So I appreciate the gift, even though I would never get in line for the suffering.
Right. But
well,
you don't have to stay in the suffering, right? I think that's you're an example of that. Like I think you're it's either you or my friend Amanda, but that pointed out that baby chicks, if you try to help them hatch out of the egg, they'll die.
They'll die.
They have to hatch themselves out of the egg, and it's hard and it's like a struggle. But they do emerge. And so you have to go through this, whatever it is you're going through, you have to go through this in order to be able to emerge and be what it is that God has planned for you. And so if anyone is listening is struggling right now, you don't have to stay in the struggle, but with God's help, you will emerge. So
amen.
It's the same with a butterfly. If you try to help it out of the chrysalis, it needs the struggle to develop the strength to fly. And if you try to help it too soon, it won't be able to fly. So
yeah, and I just have to say, I know I was joking around about how surely I'm a moth because of whatever self-deprecating funny thing I was trying to be. But really all I was trying to say is I'm prepared for it to be whatever God needs it to be. Right. I mean, if I'm a butterfly meant to soar and sail, fine. But if I'm quote unquote just a silkworm or just an inchworm or just a caterpillar, whatever, because I'm a part of the body of Christ and fulfilling a specific purpose, whatever I am. So I'm ready for it to be whatever God needs it to be. I don't have any expectations. So
awesome.
That's where I'm at.
Okay, Jennifer, what's next with you?
Well, that's kind of up in the air now, so my
Yeah.
whole, in a good way, my whole plan is kind of turned upside down because my oldest daughter, who I homeschool, we got kind of a rhythm going on, and she is 14, so she does a lot of it on her own, and we work together. I work on my book while she is doing her work. But so I got to figure that out, how this is going to look for me to continue working on book 3 while I have all 3 girls home, and my son is going to be home now. So it's going to
I
be a
think
whole new thing.
there's something could work out in there, like your
Maybe.
son and the girls and
Maybe it's
you
possible. Though
working. Yeah.
I think they
Mhm.
might drive him crazy. So we'll see.
I
So
just have this picture of like an old hound dog with like little kittens like climbing on the head. I don't know why. That's just how I picture the relationship, right?
it's a little bit more with the oldest stepson, actually.
Yeah.
Like, and then he gets fed up with him and he shakes him off. That's pretty much my oldest stepson. Spencer kind of kind of gels a little bit better with them, but still, he's used to being with 21-year-olds at college, and
Yeah.
so we'll see how this
Well,
goes.
This
And
might be a
so,
refreshing change for him.
I
well,
just can I just throw in here? I mean, depending on how your kids are, like I'm going to sit down with my kids and we're going to have a heart to heart because Spencer might be really scared, and that's what made me think of it. I thought of it because I thought about how scared Spencer must be, and I've been kind of really lighthearted with my kids, and we haven't really talked anything serious. But I am going to sit down with them and we're going to talk worst case scenario and what that means and how it's all going to be okay. And I
Right.
forgot that I had wanted to mention to our audience, depending on how your children are, they might just need a heart to heart about like, we've got this, and even if things get whatever level bad, it's going to be okay because, and they just maybe need to hear directly those words from the people in charge of them or
Agreed.
over them.
And
Agreed.
part of the reason why they have pre-birth classes when you're pregnant is because information has this way of dispelling fear. So having information and knowledge can lessen fear. And so I think there's a lot of benefit to just giving children the facts and not letting them imagine some thing that's probably not even reality.
Yeah, I got to say, what made me think of this is my kids have no concept of like rationing food. And if it gets to a situation to where the shelves are bare and I'm only giving them like a dish full of food, they're going to be like, what? I'm like, yeah, this is it for like 12 hours. So like they need to be prepared that it could be like that, right? I'm not saying it's going to be, but just prepare them for an eventuality that could happen.
Right.
Right. So I feel like we shanghaied Jennifer's what's next.
Yeah, sorry, Jennifer.
Were you done?
Pretty much. I mean, it's really just going to be about me continue to work on the book, writing these new chapters, which I'm loving. But it's also taking some research, and I didn't bring the books over here. I'm doing some research on prohibition and murder in the Upper Peninsula, which is kind of fun. Well, the murder
That
part.
sounds
The
really
research
fun
is
to me.
fun. The research is fun.
Right.
So yeah, I look forward to it. Will's going to go on a lot more adventures, I think, than what I had originally planned. So yeah, it's good. So that's what's up for me. That's what's next, not what's up.
Awesome. So do we have anything else to say before we sign out? All right. Somebody I know always says, "Are all hearts clear?"
Yeah.
I was just wanted to say, and what exactly does that mean? But anyway, so this concludes this episode of the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. Until next time, may your pen be prolific, may your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ. Bye.
Bye, everyone.